So this evening we had our agenda meeting, began at 5:30. We exited, if you will, or were completed with our agenda meeting at approximately 6:58 p.m., where we entered executive session with a motion by Councilmember Christou and a second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. All voted in favor of entering executive session. We had various employee matters to discuss, employee grievance, employee medical matters, employee performance issue, and is that it? I think that's it. Okay, thank you. We then exited executive session at 7:13 p.m. with a motion by Councilmember Christou and a second by Councilmember Lorimer. All voted in favor of the executive session. And Ms. Marco, I'll call the meeting of Rotterdam Town Board, March 23rd, 2016 to order. At this time, Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Christou?
Present.
Mr. Lamore?
Present.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Present.
Mr. Villano?
Here.
Mr. Tomaso?
Present. Thank you very much. Would you all please stand? Mr. Capola, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So under supervisor's report this evening, I'm going to ask Doug Cole to just go up to the podium here and give us a summary with about the improvements that are needed to the Town of Rotterdam wastewater treatment plant. And frankly, when we say improvements, believe it or not, a lot of it is maintenance in most respects, which hasn't happened since can I give some of the years, 1938, 1960, I forget.
82 and
82, 1996. So I'm going to let Doug talk about some of the things that we need to do with the sewer plant here on Campbell.
Yeah, thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you for coming.
You may know that wastewater treatment plant is located on Campbell Road near the intersection with Bird Street. And as Steve said, the original plant was constructed in 1938. There were major upgrades done in 1982 and again in 1996. And McDonald Engineering was involved with those upgrades in 96, and we've been involved with some other smaller projects at the plant to keep things working in the past 6 years. But basically the treatment plant is made up of a bunch of individual treatment processes that when they all work together and work well, they provide a clean effluent that goes out to the Mohawk River. When any one of those processes breaks down, there's a potential for violations and fines. So all of those treatment units need to be kept in good operating condition. So I met with the supervisor about 6 weeks ago, and we went through the plant with the treatment plant operator. I was out there for half of the day, going through all the different units, looking at the condition of things, and we came up with a report that prioritizes the work that's required to keep things operating, to keep that speed use permit in compliance for the town. So we've broken up our work into a couple of different categories. Category A projects are ones that are definitely needed, and then Category B are some things that might be needed in the near future or kind of wish list things. But these Category A projects have been prioritized in the most needy to the least needy. So I'd like to start with the intermediate pump station. That's a pump station at the plant which handles the entire flow of the plant to take it from about midway through the process, pumping it up the hill to go through the remainder of the process. This building houses 5 sewage pumps and controls. Some of this equipment still dates to the 1982 upgrade. You can't get parts for the control panel anymore. The pumps are in need of repair. The building needs a new roof. It needs a new heating and ventilation system. There's all kinds of upgrades that it needs. So just that alone is about $600,000 in work, just to upgrade that pump station building. Another important item is a standby generator at the treatment plant. The existing standby generator is also a 1982 vintage unit. Again, it's had some repairs over the years, and they're just not making parts for equipment that's that old. So we would be looking at upgrading that to a new unit with a new automatic transfer switch, so that we would be insured to have power when the normal power goes out, and keep those treatment units running, and keep the permit from being violated. Some more work at the plant includes the preliminary treatment building. That's where the flow first comes into the plant. There's a mechanical bar screen which removes large material from the wastewater flow. There's a grit separator that removes sands and grits from the water. And then that unit pumps it to a dewatering unit, which allows you to concentrate the solids so that it's cheaper to dispose of them. Those units are about 20 years old. There's been some recent failures of the mechanical bar screen. It's been repaired, but it's on borrowed time. Basically, any of the steel components that are in contact with wastewater, they corrode over time. They've been maintained over and over again, painting and such by the operator, but they only last so long. So the work at the preliminary treatment building is estimated to cost about $250,000. The gravity thickener at the plant is a unit that thickens the sludge that is withdrawn from the bottom of the primary and secondary clarifiers. That thickener unit, it's a concrete tank with steel internal components. That's also from 1982. And again, all those internal steel components need to be replaced. That project is about a $255,000 project alone. Then we have the secondary treatment tanks. That's where the wastewater is clarified after going through the biological treatment process. There's a pump station involved with that, those clarifier tanks that pump that sludge to that thickener. Those pumps are also from 1982, and they need to be replaced as well as the control panels and other valves and piping associated with those for about $88,000. The plant currently disinfects the wastewater before it goes to the Mohawk River with an ultraviolet disinfection system, which I believe was put in the early 2000s. That unit, that technology has changed so much that there aren't repair parts for that unit anymore. And also being from that vintage, it's also an energy hog. It uses a lot of power to power those UV bulbs to disinfect the wastewater. So the plan is to go back to a liquid chlorine disinfection system, which is what the plant was originally built with, which will save the town money and energy costs. So that change out would be about $72,000. The treatment plant also uses a lot of potable water in its processes when tanks are cleaned and washed down. When pumps are removed for maintenance, they're washed down with town water. The belt filter press, which is the last step in the sludge processing, uses a lot of wash water. So the plan would be to take treated sewage effluent water and reuse that at the plant, and then not have to rely so much on town water. So that project would be about $100,000. Another portion of the biological treatment happens in rotating biological contactors, which if you've been by the plant, those are the white half-circle covers that you see as you drive by. Those were installed in 1996, and basically the motors and the bearings are all 20 years old on that equipment. and it's reached the end of its life for the bearings and the motors. So the plan is to replace all those. There's 4 units, so that's 8 bearings and 4 motors. So we're looking at about $127,000 for that work. The secondary clarifier, which I mentioned the pump station before associated with that. The clarifier tanks themselves, there's 2 of them. They have gear drives and motors that operate chains and scrapers that move the sludge and scum to one end of the tank. And there's also telescoping sludge valves. All of those mechanical pieces of equipment need to be replaced at a cost of about $72,000. There's primary clarifier tanks, which are very similar to those secondary tanks, and they need the same work. There's 2 tanks, so about $72,000 worth of work at those as well. And the primary sludge pumping station, again, those pumps transfer sludge from the bottom of the primary clairs to that gravity thickener that I mentioned earlier. Those sludge pumps were installed in 1982. They're currently located in the basement of the old digester building from 1938. It's really, it's not a good location for those. It's a confined space, there's access issues. So the plan would be to take those pumps out of there, put them in a new building, and locate them closer to the primary clarifiers. So we would see an energy savings, and we would have a safer environment for the workers to work on those pumps. That would be about $184,000 worth of work. And then there's some other miscellaneous work to round out the Category A projects. That could include some slope failure repair at the back edge of the treatment plant where the slope goes down to the existing creek. Some other smaller things like valve replacements and hydrant replacements, which the town may actually be able to do with some of their own forces. But if we budgeted for that work, if they don't, for about $68,000. So the total of those Category A projects is $2.1 million. We do have a couple of Category B projects. Again, these are ones that, it's more of a wish list. So the first one on that list is adding a second gravity thickener. DEC likes to have redundancy in treatment units nowadays. Back in 1982, things must have been a little bit more lax. So ideally, when you have a unit as important as a gravity thickener and you need to take it down for maintenance, you don't have another tank to rely on. So adding a thickener would be an ideal situation, but that would cost about $350,000. The trickling filters, which is another part of the biological treatment process at the plant, they were rehabbed in 1982, but the original concrete structure is from 1938. The tanks are actually still in really good shape, but the rock media that is inside the tanks and the underdrain and vent piping is starting to become clogged and reducing the treatment efficiency. So there are new technologies out there to replace the rock media with a plastic media. It has a lot more surface area, so you have a lot more microbes that grow to treat your effluent more efficiently. But that's the most costly item on this whole list at $840,000. And then under Category B, I also included another miscellaneous work item because there's a lot of other small things that would need to be taken care of at some point. The asphalt driveways throughout the plant are starting to crack and wear. The roofs aren't currently leaking, but a lot of them are getting into that 30-year age where flat roofs, EPDM roofs, will start to have problems. Some of the other things, garage doors on the water and sewer building should be replaced. One of the other big things, which I think we can move into category A, is a new alarm system, a full SCADA system to alert the operator when he's not on site, if there's an issue at the plant, and they can get there in a timely manner, take care of it, and not have a violation. So if all of those category B projects were performed, that would be an additional $1.6 million. So the total, if both category A and B were done, it's about a $3.8 million total project. But as I said before, the category A is really the work that needs to be done now. So that's the $2.1 million.
Okay, thanks, Doug. And just so everyone knows, we, as a board, we had a lot of discussion during the agenda review about how would we pay for this and how long the bond would be and so on. And we'll talk more about that in a future 1 or 2 meetings here. But I wanted Doug to come here to present to you something that we've known for a long time. That plant needs a lot of improvements and a lot of maintenance that hasn't been properly taken care of over the last several years, and so we need to move ahead pretty expeditiously. And so, I want the public to become aware of some of these things that we're working on as a board. And so thanks, Doug, very much. And I appreciate you coming in and trying to make a subject sound interesting like this, because it's very difficult sometimes to understand exactly what he's referring to. But I would tell you this, that when you go by the plant, you see the size of it, you don't necessarily know what's really going on, under the ground there or in some of these buildings, if you will. But I know that the council members have, I believe, all been to the plant. I'll stand corrected on that. But more importantly, as we look for future development, the bottom line for us is when it comes to ensuring that we have infrastructure that's in place that can at least take care of what we already have. And we don't have that right now. We're not taking care, we don't have, that infrastructure there isn't really taking care of what we already are doing there at that plant. So we have a lot of work there. I appreciate you coming, Doug. Thanks very much.
Mr. Supervisor,
Sure.
I think we should also, make it clear to the public that these are not luxurious upgrades of any kind. This is a facility that Councilwoman Miller Herrera and I have visited, and I'm sure other members have visited as well. What's down there has exceeded its life expectancy. There's been a lot of neglect there, and a lot of the stuff is rotting and rusting from the inside out. And these, what do you want to call them, upgrades, maintenance issues or whatever, they need to be done in order to prevent a disaster. And we are living on borrowed time with a lot of the equipment in that sewer and water treatment plant, and it needs the attention immediately. This is, in my opinion, Mr. Supervisor, a non-negotiable item.
Me too. I mean, it is a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour operation. So even on the weekends that, we have our operators going there just to ensure that everything is in working order. And we've had a lot of repairs just this year already to make sure that plant can continue to operate. We spent a lot of money there already. Doug can attest to some of that because he's been involved in most of those repairs. So I appreciate it, Doug. Thanks very much.
I would just like to take the opportunity, Mr. Supervisor, to just remind all of us that although we have a bond that's being paid off and we're going to be saving an additional $125,000-ish a year in principal and interest payments on that old bond when it does ultimately retire, the fact that we are doing inter-fund transfers out of this particular fund of the amount of $150,000, that means that we could not be taxing you for that money and still bond for these upgrades out of the money that we're transferring to other funds. I mean, this is a best of both worlds scenario. A tax decrease for the homeowners and still getting the work that you need done. I mean, so there's an opportunity if we ease off the gas pedal with transferring money to the A fund, you might be able to get your bonding and still offer these residents a tax reduction.
We'll talk more about that later. Thank you very much. Anyone else on the board? Okay. Also, I'd like to let everyone know that Resolution 8916, with a motion by Councilmember Villano and a second by Councilmember Miller Herrera, was amended. And I'll just read the section that was amended. It's the third paragraph within the notice of hearing, and where it reads, "This chapter shall not apply to noise created as a result of snow removal by a snow blower or related snow removal machinery. Just know that what we've done is we've removed the comma and removed the word related, so that it will read, this chapter shall not apply to noise created as a result of snow removal by a snow blower or snow removal machinery. And we had a motion again by Councilmember Villano, second by Councilmember Miller Herrera, and all voted in favor of amending that resolution. So just some wordsmithing there, but it's very important. I thank Councilmember Villano and Councilmember Miller Herrera for this item. So at this time, what I'd like to do is we're going to call the public hearing to order. Ms. Marco, would you read the notice there, or the...
To authorize Rotterdam Junction Fire District Number 1 to allow for the construction of a 3,390 square foot addition and upgrades to the existing firehouse on a ±1.60 acre parcel on property located in the Aquifer Area Overlay District. This property tax map number 20.5-3-5.11 is located at 1215 Main Street in Rotterdam Junction, New York, 12150. And Jim Carangelo?
Jim Carangelo. Jim?
Good evening.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, we're not here to ask for any money, so you can all relax after that presentation. My name
Go ahead, Jim.
okay. My name is Jim Carangelo. I'm a fire commissioner in District 1. Live at 20 Riverview Drive, Rotterdam Junction. Past chief and current still a volunteer firefighter. Unfortunately, I'm going to read this presentation because I don't want to leave anything out. This issue is too important for us as a district and the community around it. So, on behalf of the Rotterdam Fire District Number 1 Fire Commissioners, I'm here to request the town board's approval of our proposed 3,400 square foot addition to our existing 6,000 square foot building. The needs for the addition have been well documented and fully supported by the town's New York Rising Committee that began in 2014. With the fire district's input and justification, the town committee championed this as well as some other town projects like the town water district number 5 well project that was approved also. So this all culminated in the award of $1.4 million to the fire district for the proposed building addition. The federal funding will be coming from HUD and will be administered through GOSER, Governor's Office of Storm Recovery. Right. And to that point, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Lori Salamak, who's here from the office, and Mr. Tony Buell, who's here in support of GOSER. So we received site plan approval from the Town Planning Commission based on reviews of our 60% design. So we've been through that process. The design was developed by Trudeau Architects of Latham, New York, and they were contracted by the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, DASNY. DASNY will be the overall project manager for this project. In addition to oversight of the funding for this project, GOSER has taken the lead and will be handling the seeker process. So that's not completed yet. I believe it's important, though, for the town board to recognize that the integral involvement of these established organizations will ensure that the project not only meets the needs of our community and surrounding areas, but will be accomplished in a regulation compliant and environmentally appropriate manner. To that end, let me list some of the engineering and technical reviews that have already taken place. First one, geothermal and structural. It's been determined that structural fill may be needed as we build our foundation. So that's good to know up front. Soil analysis, no contamination found. Hazardous materials in the existing structure. Some were found like asbestos and lead-based paint. But since this is an addition, we're not going to disturb the internal structure. So it's going to be a minimal impact. Our structures go back to 1991 with an addition in 1975. The New York State Park Commission and Historical Preservation determined no historical properties are affected. Archaeological investigation, no significant cultural resources found. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, no cultural. Radon, not required to be tested. Seeker ongoing, as I mentioned, no issues anticipated. Here's the big one, the septic system. After review and testing, it has been determined that we are able to use the existing septic system with no modifications whatsoever. So I assume the last item is a significant element in your review process. as the board considers approval of this project, which is located on the aquifer area overlay district. As additional information, we expect to have final 100% design drawings done on by April 7th. We'll go out for bids at the end of May. Start award of bids and start construction in August with completion next April. That's our schedule. That's it. Thank you for your consideration on this project.
On behalf of the town, I want to thank you and all the members of the Volunteer Fire District 1 for all that you do, for all that you've done, particularly when we had the storms. And knowing that these improvements that you're making will help us to have a location as a shelter as well. So there's a lot more to this project than just putting an addition in and all of the requirements that we need to meet. So I want to thank all of you for your commitment as well to your neighborhood, to your people out there in Rotterdam Junction. So thank you very much.
Good, we all appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor, I will also add that I had occasion to visit it right after the storm, and with what you had, you guys did an amazing job. You really did. And I think that this is just, you're providing a safe haven in a lot of different directions, and I think it's a great thing that you guys were able to secure the
And
funding.
when you were there, you gave us some good ideas on how to continue to feed the people there. Remember your visit.
Thank you.
I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank other individuals that were integral in receiving storm-related monies, such as Tommy Yule. He ended up doing a great job. He was constantly out in Rotterdam Junction and also working here with the town to generate some grants. There were other members of that committee, including Lisa Dufek, who did a lot of work in that as well. But I thank all the volunteers in the town that did work with New York Rising and the other state agencies that provided grants that ultimately benefited all of us as Rotterdam residents.
Yeah, clearly, we wouldn't be here without the New York Rising program.
No question about it. So thank you, Lori and Tony. Thanks very much for what you do too for us. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for your attention.
Ben Giraldo.
This is for
This is for the same.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Ben Girardo. I'm a 39-year resident of Rotterdam Junction, as well as a recent retiree from Chalmont High School faculty. It sounds like you realize everything that the fire department did for the citizens of the junction during the floods. I know I personally was very blessed. We lost our home. There was always a place to go for meals. There was always a place to go for help if we needed information. FEMA was there, Red Cross was there, you name it, but they were stepping on each other. They needed more space. They needed more of an area that they could do things in. So, the citizens of the junction pulled together like a unit, but the heart of that unit was the Junction Fire Department. So I just wanted to say, if you speak my piece, that they were there for us. We appreciated it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Driver. Very kind.
Thank you very much.
Steve, that's it
That's
for
it
the
for the,
public hearing.
okay. Anyone else, just while we're here, anyone else for the public hearing this evening? No, okay, we'll declare public hearing 1 closed then at this time. Now we will call for public comment privilege of the floor.
Joseph Gittarelli.
I believe he left.
Oh, he left. Okay.
If he comes back, we'll give him.
Patty Minor.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and Town Board. My name is Patty Miner, and I live at 2075 Caroleon Road. I would like to address the Hamburg Street Sewer Project, which has been in the paper recently quite a bit. On behalf of myself, and I'm sure on behalf of all the residents that are affected by this costly project, in reading the 3 articles that were published in the Gazette, I feel first off there's been a major lack of opportunity for us affected to vote on opposition or agreement to this project. We have an annual brush fee that was supposed to be eliminated, not merely reduced. It is now reduced to $40. Regarding this fee, we all received a letter giving us the ability to opt out or stay in. Merely sign the letter and return it. However, the sewer project, we the residents apparently do not get to vote acceptance or not. The only vote seems to be 100% vote of yes by the board members. This is an extremely expensive burden to the taxpayers, and we have no vote on the issue. I live in Stonegate Manor. My parents built our home in 1943. I understand sewers were supposed to be installed then and never were. The issue came up again apparently in the 70s, and again no action to install them. Back in the 70s, the majority of residents had much higher income and much more flexibility with money than they do now. The expense would have been a little easier. A few years ago, the country almost crashed financially. We are still not completely on firm ground when you listen to the economy news daily. People have gotten accustomed to living a lot more thriftily. Therefore, we cannot handle an additional $500 connection fee plus a $35 inspection fee. That's minimal when you figure there's going to be $1,204 on top of our already high property and school taxes. The board members should ride around Colebrook and various areas that are considered in this highway or this sewer project and see how many houses are already abandoned. One street in particular, out of 6 houses, 2 are already abandoned and have posted signs on them. In the newspaper articles, it was repeated several times that they will be good to draw in new businesses on Hamburg Street. Have any of you driven down Hamburg Street? I only see one opportunity for any land to be developed, and that would be where the old Rolling Greens bowling alley was. There is no other open property. I don't see how any other building could go on. Also, when sewers are installed on Altamont Avenue, how come Hamburg Street wasn't included then? Probably would have been a lot more cost effective if both sides of the streets had been done at the same time. I truly hope you, the board, who have been elected to work in the residents' best interests, decide to make connecting to the sewers voluntary and not mandatory. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Minor.
Patty, did you want that to be part of the record?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's it for speaking.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll go into the agenda items at this time. Resolution 8816.
Appoint individuals to various seasonal summer positions at the Town of Rotterdam Highway Department effective May 1st, 2016.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Councilmember Larmore. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, please call the roll.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaso?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 8816 passes. Resolution 8916.
Call for public hearing to be held on Wednesday, April 13th, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the John F. Kirby Government Center, Town Hall, 1100 Sunrise Boulevard, Rotterdam, New York, 12306, upon adoption of a proposed local law of the year 2016 for the following purpose: to amend Chapter 188, Section 2 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Noise Non-Applicability as follows. This chapter shall not apply to noise created as a result of snow removal by a snow blower or snow removal machinery.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Christou, second, please.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Valano. Anyone on the question? Okay, hearing none, Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaso?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 8916 passes. Resolution 9016.
Call for public hearing to be held on Wednesday, April 13th, 2014. I think that should be 2016. Okay?
Yeah, another
At
thing.
7 p.m. at the John F. Kirby Government Center, Town Hall, 1100 Sunrise Boulevard, Rotterdam, New York, 12306, upon adoption of a proposed local law of the year 2016 for the following purpose: to amend Chapter 266, Section 26 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Angle Parking as follows. Angled parking of a vehicle upon any of the streets or parts thereof described in Schedule 18, 266-58, shall only be at the angle designated, only within the painted white stall lines, and shall not obstruct the view of motorists. To amend Chapter 266, Section 42 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule 2, one-way streets as follows. Earl Street shall be one-way in the westerly direction from Vischer Avenue to Draper Avenue. Stanton Street shall be one-way in the easterly direction from Draper Avenue to Vischer Avenue. to amend Chapter 266, Section 46 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 6, stop intersections as follows. The stop sign on Earl Street shall be placed in the west direction of travel at the intersection of Draper Avenue. The stop sign on Stanton Street shall be placed in the east direction of travel at the intersection of Fisher Avenue. To amend Chapter 266, Section 49 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 9, School Speed Zone as follows. To eliminate all references of Draper Avenue, Earl Street, Stanton Street, Fisher Avenue from this schedule. To amend Chapter 266, Section 52 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic Schedule 12, no parking at any time as follows. Eliminate Earl Street, east entire length, Draper Avenue to Fisher Avenue and Stanton Street, west entire length from the schedule. To amend Chapter 266, Section 53 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 13, no parking certain hours as follows. Eliminate all references of Draper Avenue, Earl Street, Stanton Street, Fisher Avenue from this schedule. To amend Chapter 266, Section 54 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Schedules 14, limited time parking as follows. Eliminate all references of Draper Avenue, Earl Street, Stanton Street, Fisher Avenue from this schedule. To amend Chapter 266, Section 58 of the Code of Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 18, angle parking as follows. In accordance with the provisions of 266-26, any person parking a vehicle in an available angled parking spot while upon any of the following streets or parts of streets shall park at the angle indicated. Add angle parking on Earl Street, south angled southwest, the entire length of the street, and Stanton Street, north angled northeast, the entire length of the street. To amend Chapter 266, Section 60 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule 20, School Bus Zones as follows. Eliminate all references of Fisher Avenue from this schedule. To amend Chapter 266, Section 64 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule 24, Crossing Zones as follows. Eliminate all references of Draper Avenue, Earl Street, Stanton Street, Fisher Avenue from this schedule. The end.
Thank you. I was waiting to maybe help you out there. Okay, so may I have a motion for Resolution 9016?
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to call for the public hearing.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second, please?
I will second it.
Second by Councilmember Larmore. On the question, what is going on here? The planning board, the police department, our highway superintendent. There's a lot of moving parts here, but in the big scheme of things, what's happening is the code is being amended because that project is now going to be apartments. It's no longer a school. So we have to accommodate apartments and not the school any longer. We're also changing we're calling for a public hearing for changing the flow of traffic. So the way the one-ways are now will be reversed back to the way it was probably 30 years ago or something like that. I remember when I was a kid riding around there, the streets went a different ways, north and south, and now they're just changing those around. So we're going back to that. And also regarding the angled parking, in order to accommodate both the residents and of Draper Lofts, that project, and the residents along Earl Street and Stanton Street, the potential for continuing to park on those roads. And so that's where we are with that. In summation, did I miss anything? Okay. So that's what all these references are in this long, very, very long resolution. Thank you, Ms. Marco, for reading the whole thing. And so we have a motion by Councilmember Christou, a second by Councilmember Larmore. Anyone else on the question? Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
I'd like to explain my vote. Although these changes are basically insubstantial, I can't find myself in a position to vote yes in any situation where we're advancing an apartment complex of this density. So for philosophical reasons, despite what these changes may be, I hereby vote no.
Mr. Tomaso?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 no.
Okay, Resolution 9016 passes. Resolution 9116.
Call for public hearing to be held on Wednesday, April 13th, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the John F. Kirby Government Center, Town Hall, 1100 Sunrise Boulevard, Rotterdam, New York, 12306, for the following purpose: to allow for a change of zone request from Fabio Urbano, owner, for property located at 564 Duanesburg Road, Rotterdam, New York, 12306, located along Duanesburg Road, New York, Star Route 7, approximately 150 feet east of the intersection with Dunsville Road, and is known as tax map number 48.17-5-24.2. The applicant is requesting a change of zone from retail business B1 to general business B2 for the potential future expansion of the recently established business on the adjacent parcel.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano, may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Councilmember Christou. Anyone on the question?
I just wanted to say one thing on this. All they're trying to do is just change the type of business that they can get in there. It's business to business, and so I really don't have a problem that the fact that they're just changing the availability of what type of business they can have in there. It looks really good. They've done a lot of good work on that corner there. So I think we should let them keep doing what they're doing because they're on the right track.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Lamar. Okay, anyone else? Ms. Marco, would you call the roll,
Mr.
please?
Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 9116 passes. Resolution 9216.
Declare the town of Rotterdam as lead agency and authorize the town planner to prepare, file, publish, and distribute all documents necessary to comply with 6 NYCRR Part 617 and State Environmental Quality Review relative to the above proposed amendment to the Code of the Town of Rotterdam for a change of zone.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second
Second by Councilmember Larimore. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
it. Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 9216 passes. Resolution 9316.
The town board of the town of Rotterdam makes necessary findings in accordance with 2 NYCRR 85.3B as requested by the New York State Office of the State Comptroller, and directs the supervisor to prepare and submit this application and any supporting document deemed necessary by the Office of the State Comptroller.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Councilmember Christou. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 9316 passes. Resolution 9416.
Authorize the BB Law Firm to enter into a stipulation of settlement on behalf of the town of Rotterdam in the matter of Michelle A. During versus Town of Rotterdam, ETAL, index number 15-1767, Article 7, real property tax certiorari proceedings for the tax year 2015.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 9416 passes. Resolution 9516.
Authorize budget transfers by the town controller to various accounts for 2016.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Councilmember Larimore. On the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 9516 passes. Anyone have anything under committee reports this evening before I mention a few things myself here? Give you all a couple minutes. No? Okay. So, just a few items. I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I'd like to bring it up again. We are still actively seeking recreation specialists and students, if you will, to help us over the summer for our prep and RAP programs. And I'm just going to read this email again that I received from Molly Collins. The recreation specialists have to be at least 18 years of age or older. They prefer that we're enrolling, that these students are enrolling or in college for teaching early childhood education, daycare, summer-related field that deals with children. Prep is the 2 3/4 hour camp for 3 to 5-year-olds held at the senior center. RAP is the 2 3/4 hour camp program for 6 to 8-year-olds held at Pinewood Elementary School. Sports camp is a 6-hour camp for 9 to 12-year-olds waiting for a final word. Okay, I don't need that, okay. Prep and RAP rec specialists work 4 hours per day, 8:30 to 12:30, 5 days per week. Sports camp rec specialists work 6.5 hours per day, 8:30 to 3:30, 5 days per week, and all camps are for 6 weeks, starting July 5th and ending August 12th. So we pay recreation specialists $9 per hour. We pay directors and co-directors $15 per hour, and those are usually certified teachers. So we do have the need for some certified teachers as well. And please, if you are interested in applying for one of these positions, please come either here to Town Hall, to the supervisor's office, and get an application, or go over to the senior center and they can provide an application to you as well. And again, I bring these items up because we continue to get these type of mailings, and I want the public to know that the town has nothing to do with these mailings. It's a mailing from American Water Resources of New York, and if you receive any mailings or any phone calls from individuals or from companies that are purporting to provide some type of service, please look very carefully at it, or in answering any phone call or anything like that. Please do not hesitate to call the supervisor's office, my office, or if you will, just again look deeper into some of these things. The town does not mail anything like this or endorse any of these particular programs. So what I'd like to do at this point in time, if no one has anything else under miscellaneous, is and we held our executive session, I'm just going to ask that for those of us on the board that can stay a little bit later here, we're not going to adjourn the meeting because it's still a public meeting, but I'm going to ask that we gather back at the table over there so that I can discuss a number of items that, again, as I said earlier, we're going to be bringing up over the next several months here that are of importance to the town. So for those of you that would like to stay, please stay. Turn your chairs around and bring a chair over there, and we'll be sitting there. And those of you who do not, please thank you very much for attending this evening. And I'll just give us a few minutes as we kind of embark here, and we'll settle at the back table. Thank you very much.